On January 29, 2025, former President Donald Trump publicly urged SpaceX under the leadership of Elon Musk to expedite the return of two NASA astronauts Suni Williams and Butch Wilmore, who had been aboard the International Space Station ISS since June 2024. Trump's comments made through social media suggested that the astronauts were virtually abandoned and criticized the Biden administration for allowing their extended stay on the ISS. This statement sparked confusion within the space industry, as NASA and SpaceX had already coordinated their return for early April 2025, with the Crew Dragon spacecraft initially planned for the Crew 9 mission. Elon Musk echoed Trump's remarks on social media, confirming that he had been instructed to bring the astronauts home as soon as possible, and expressed frustration over the previous administration's management of the situation. However, the claim that the astronauts were stranded was met with skepticism from NASA officials, who clarified that Williams and Wilmore had not been abandoned. They could have returned in an emergency at any time, and NASA had extended their stay to investigate issues with Boeing's Starliner spacecraft. A timeline of events highlights that Williams and Wilmore launched to the ISS in June 2024 aboard the Starliner, which was originally intended for a brief stay. However, due to thruster problems, their mission was extended beyond the planned duration. In August 2024, NASA announced it would bring the Starliner back without a crew, arranging for the two astronauts to return on the Crew Dragon instead. As of late January 2025, NASA had not released any formal statements regarding Trump's claims. The agency's previous leadership had consistently maintained that political considerations did not influence their decisions regarding the astronauts' extended stay. Key points from various sources include: 1. Trump's public request for SpaceX's assistance and criticism of the Biden administration. 2. SpaceX's existing plans for the astronauts' return, contradicting the notion of them being stranded. 3. NASA's emphasis on the professionalism of the astronauts and the framing of the upcoming Crew 9 mission as a routine crew rotation rather than a rescue. In summary, while Trump's statements aim to highlight perceived negligence by the current administration, they did not align with the operational realities at NASA, which had planned the astronauts' return within the established timeline. This incident underscores the complexities of communication between governmental figures, space agencies, and private aerospace companies. Background context: the situation revolves around the long-term missions of astronauts aboard the ISS, which is a significant collaborative effort between NASA and various international partners. In June 2024, Williams and Wilmore embarked on a mission aboard Boeing's CST-100 Starliner, a spacecraft that had undergone rigorous testing and development. This mission was particularly noteworthy as it marked the first crewed flight of the Starliner, which had faced delays and technical issues prior to its launch. Upon their arrival at the ISS, Williams and Wilmore were expected to conduct a series of scientific experiments and maintenance activities. However, complications arose when thruster problems were identified with the Starliner. Recognizing the potential risks associated with the spacecraft's return, NASA made the decision to extend the astronauts' stay and investigate the issues thoroughly. By late August 2024, it became clear that the Starliner would not be returning to Earth with the crew. NASA subsequently decided to bring the spacecraft back without astronauts on board, which allowed for a reassessment of the crew rotation schedule. The agency arranged for Williams and Wilmore to return on a Crew Dragon spacecraft, which had proven to be a reliable transportation option for astronauts traveling to and from the ISS. Trump's comments and reaction. Trump's comments on social media prompted significant attention and brought forth a wave of reactions from various stakeholders in the space community. His assertion that the astronauts were virtually abandoned resonated with some who were concerned about the astronauts' extended mission duration. However, industry insiders and NASA officials quickly worked to clarify the situation. NASA responded to the confusion by emphasizing that the astronauts were not in any danger and that their extended mission was a carefully considered decision based on safety protocols and mission objectives. In fact, both Williams and Wilmore expressed their professionalism and commitment to their roles, indicating that they were well prepared for the extended stay. The NASA Commercial Crew Program Manager Steve Stick reiterated that the upcoming Crew 9 mission should not be framed as a rescue operation but rather a routine crew rotation. This perspective aimed to mitigate any implications that the astronauts were in a precarious situation due to administrative negligence. Public and media response. The media's interpretation of Trump's statements resulted in a mix of concern and skepticism. Articles and news segments analyzed the implications of Trump's remarks, with many outlets highlighting the discrepancies between his claims and the established plans for the astronauts' return. The situation underscored the challenges that arise when political figures engage in discussions about complex scientific missions, particularly when misinformation or miscommunication can lead to public misunderstanding. The broader public discourse also touched upon the role of private aerospace companies like SpaceX in modern space exploration. As SpaceX continues to play a crucial role in NASA's transportation needs, the dynamics between governmental oversight and corporate autonomy became a point of discussion. The incident served as a reminder of the evolving landscape of space travel, where private entities are increasingly involved in missions that were once the sole purview of government agencies. Conclusion. In the wake of Trump's comments, it became clear that effective communication between political figures, space agencies, and private aerospace companies is essential for maintaining public trust and understanding. As NASA and SpaceX continue their collaboration to advance human spaceflight, the importance of transparency and clarity in messaging will only grow. Ultimately, Williams and Wilmore's return to Earth remained on schedule, with the Crew Dragon spacecraft expected to facilitate their safe homecoming in early April 2025. The incident served as a learning opportunity for all parties involved, emphasizing the need for accurate information dissemination and the complexities inherent in the intersection of politics and space exploration. The situation involving former President Donald Trump's remarks about NASA astronauts Suni Williams and Butch Wilmore has highlighted several counterintuitive aspects regarding the communication and operational procedures within the space industry. 1. Miscommunication versus reality. Trump's assertion that the astronauts were virtually abandoned contradicts the operational realities established by NASA and SpaceX. While Trump and Musk's statements implied that the astronauts were in urgent need of return, NASA had already planned their return for early April 2025. This discrepancy illustrates a significant gap between public perception and the actual mission planning, revealing how statements from influential figures can create confusion even when operational procedures are in place. 2. Emergency protocols. Trump's comments suggested a dire situation, implying that the astronauts were stranded without options for return. However, NASA clarified that Williams and Wilmore could have returned at any time in an emergency situation. This presents a counterintuitive understanding of space missions. The astronauts were not in peril but were instead continuing their work on the ISS, which had been deemed safe and productive. 3. Perception of political influence. Trump's remarks seem to suggest that the Biden administration was neglecting the astronauts, framing it as a political issue. However, NASA officials, including former Administrator Bill Nelson, emphasized that political considerations did not influence the decision to extend the astronauts' stay. This counterintuitive aspect highlights the complexities of political narratives versus operational realities in space missions, where scientific and safety considerations often take precedence over political agendas. 4. Professionalism of astronauts. The astronauts themselves expressed a sense of professionalism and acceptance regarding their extended stay, which counters the narrative that they were victims of a political failure. Williams and Wilmore both indicated that they were focused on their duties and adapting to the circumstances, which suggests that the portrayal of astronauts as helpless or abandoned is misleading. It emphasizes the resilience and adaptability of professionals in high-stakes environments. 5. Routine operations misinterpreted. NASA characterized the upcoming Crew 9 mission as a routine crew rotation rather than a rescue operation, challenging the framing used by Trump and Musk. This reflects a counterintuitive reality in space missions where what may appear to be an urgent rescue can often be a planned and methodical process, further complicating public understanding of space operations. 6. Public versus industry knowledge. The confusion surrounding the astronaut's status underscores a broader issue of public knowledge versus industry knowledge. The space industry operates with a level of technical expertise and operational planning that is often not communicated effectively to the public. This disconnect can lead to sensationalized narratives that do not reflect the complexities of space missions. In summary, the incident involving Trump's comments about the ISS astronauts reveals several counterintuitive truths about space operations, the nature of political influence on NASA, and the professionalism of astronauts, all of which challenge sensational narratives and highlight the importance of clear communication in the space sector. In the recent incident involving former President Donald Trump's remarks about NASA astronauts Suni Williams and Butch Wilmore, there are several important elements that many people might overlook. These elements not only highlight the complexities of space operations but also reflect broader themes of communication accountability and the interplay between politics and science. 1. Miscommunication and operational realities. One of the most significant aspects that could be overlooked is the operational reality of NASA's mission schedules and the implications of Trump's statements. While Trump claimed that the astronauts were virtually abandoned, NASA had a pre-existing plan for their return, which was scheduled for early April 2025. This highlights a critical disconnect between political narratives and the factual operational timelines set by space agencies. The confusion generated by Trump's comments demonstrates how miscommunication can lead to public misunderstanding of complex scientific operations. 2. Emergency protocols versus planned missions. Trump's assertion that the astronauts were stranded neglects the established emergency protocols. NASA clarified that Williams and Wilmore were not in a state of abandonment. They could have returned in an emergency using either the Starliner or Crew Dragon spacecraft. This is significant because it underscores the rigorous safety protocols in place for astronauts aboard the ISS, which are designed to ensure their safety regardless of political narratives. This distinction is crucial for public understanding of space safety and operational readiness. 3. The role of politics in space exploration. Trump's comments were framed as a critique of the Biden administration's handling of the astronauts' situation. However, NASA's previous leadership had asserted that political considerations did not influence operational decisions regarding the astronauts' extended stay. This reveals a deeper issue about how political narratives can overshadow scientific and operational realities. Many people may overlook the importance of maintaining a nonpartisan approach to space exploration, as politicization can lead to public distrust in scientific institutions. 4. Public perception of astronaut welfare. The framing of the astronauts as stranded could lead to public concern about astronaut welfare and the risks associated with long-duration space missions. While Williams and Wilmore expressed satisfaction with their extended stay, the language used by Trump and Musk could inadvertently create fear or anxiety among the public regarding the safety of astronauts in space. This is significant because public perception can influence funding and support for future space missions, highlighting the need for careful communication from both political figures and space agencies. 5. Complexity of space missions. The situation illustrates the complexity of modern space missions, particularly in the context of commercial partnerships. NASA's decision to extend the stay of the astronauts was tied to the investigation of issues with Boeing's Starliner, which adds layers of complexity to mission planning. The interplay between different spacecraft missions and the need for thorough investigation before making return plans is often overlooked by those not familiar with the intricacies of space operations. This complexity is essential for understanding the challenges that space agencies face in ensuring astronaut safety and mission success. 6. Role of social media. The incident also highlights the significant impact of social media in shaping public discourse around scientific endeavors. Trump's reliance on platforms like Truth Social and Musk's use of X, formerly Twitter, to communicate about astronaut safety can amplify misinformation and blur the lines between factual reporting and personal opinion. This raises questions about the responsibility of public figures to provide accurate information, especially when it pertains to matters of safety in science. 7. Professionalism of astronauts. Williams and Wilmore's responses to their extended stay emphasized the professionalism and adaptability of astronauts. Their comments reflect a commitment to their mission and a focus on the tasks at hand which might go unnoticed in the political fray. This professionalism is a testament to the rigorous training and mindset of astronauts, which is crucial for public understanding of the human side of space exploration. In conclusion, the interplay of politics, operational realities, and public perception in the context of space exploration is intricate and often misunderstood. The incident involving Trump's comments about the ISS astronauts serves as a reminder of the importance of clear communication and the need to separate political narratives from the realities of scientific operations. By recognizing these overlooked aspects, we can foster a more informed public discourse around space exploration and its challenges. 1. Trump's criticism of the Biden administration. Former President Donald Trump's public comments regarding the astronaut situation served as a political critique of the Biden administration. By characterizing the astronauts as virtually abandoned, Trump positioned himself as a defender of space exploration and national interests while simultaneously attacking the administration for its perceived negligence. This point invites an analysis of the interplay between politics and space policy, particularly how public statements from political figures can influence public perception and discourse surrounding space missions. 2. Misinformation and communication challenges. The confusion generated by Trump's comments highlights significant communication challenges within the space industry. Despite SpaceX's pre-existing plans for the astronauts' return, the narrative of miscommunication led to public skepticism regarding NASA's operations. This aspect can be explored in depth to understand the implications of misinformation in high-stakes environments, the importance of clear communication between government agencies and private companies, and how public statements can create or exacerbate misunderstandings. 3. NASA's operational realities versus political narratives. NASA's insistence that the astronauts were not stranded and could have returned in an emergency contrasts sharply with Trump's and Musk's framing of the situation. This discrepancy emphasizes the need for a thorough examination of operational realities within space agencies versus the narratives crafted by political figures. An analysis of this point can lead to discussions about how operational decisions are made in the context of political pressures and the importance of maintaining transparency and trust with the public. For impact on future space missions and policy, the incident serves as a case study for the evolving relationship between government and commercial space endeavors, especially regarding future missions. As private companies like SpaceX take on more significant roles in space exploration, the implications of political rhetoric on public support and funding for these missions become critical. This point warrants further discussion on how such incidents could shape future policies, the regulation of private spaceflight, and the overall trajectory of U.S. space exploration initiatives. 1. Apollo 13 Mission 1970. The Apollo 13 mission is famously known for its near-disastrous outcome when an oxygen tank exploded in space, jeopardizing the lives of astronauts Jim Lovell, Jack Swigert, and Fred Hayes. The mission intended to land on the moon quickly shifted to a survival and recovery operation. NASA engineers and flight controllers worked tirelessly to devise a plan to bring the astronauts back safely. The crew faced tremendous challenges, including limited power and resources, and ultimately returned to Earth successfully, showcasing the importance of communication and cooperation between different teams during a crisis. 2. Soyuz 11 disaster 1971. The Soyuz 11 mission ended tragically when three cosmonauts, Georgy Dobrovolsky, Viktor Patsayev, and Vladislav Volkov, were killed during re-entry. They had completed a 23-day mission aboard the Salyut 1 space station. The disaster was caused by a cabin depressurization during descent, and it raised significant concerns about crew safety in the Soviet space program. The incident led to major design changes in spacecraft to enhance safety and prompted a re-evaluation of procedures for crewed space missions, highlighting the critical nature of ensuring astronaut safety in space exploration. 3. Challenger disaster 1986. The Space Shuttle Challenger disaster occurred when the shuttle broke apart just 73 seconds after launch, resulting in the deaths of all 7 crew members. Investigations revealed that the cause was faulty O-rings, which were not designed to function in the cold temperatures present on the day of the launch. The disaster prompted a re-evaluation of NASA's decision-making processes, safety protocols, and communication practices. It underscored the importance of addressing engineering concerns and maintaining transparency between government and contractors, as well as the need for a robust safety culture in space missions. In light of the recent incident involving former President Donald Trump urging SpaceX to expedite the return of 2 NASA astronauts from the International Space Station ISS, several future outlook predictions can be drawn regarding the interplay of politics, space exploration, and commercial partnerships. 1. Increased political scrutiny on space missions. The confusion surrounding Trump's comments indicates that space missions will likely become a focal point of political discourse. As private companies like SpaceX take on more significant roles in space exploration, the political implications of their missions will garner greater attention. Future administrations may face scrutiny over space agency decisions, particularly regarding crewed missions, leading to possible politicization of NASA's operational choices. 2. Enhanced communication protocols. Given the miscommunication highlighted in this incident, there will likely be a push for clearer communication channels between government officials, space agencies, and private aerospace companies. Establishing robust protocols for public statements and updates on missions will be essential to prevent misunderstandings and maintain public confidence in space programs. 3. Evolving roles of private companies. SpaceX's involvement in returning astronauts illustrates the growing reliance on private companies for space exploration. Over the next decade, we can expect more private entities to take on responsibilities traditionally held by government agencies. This shift will likely lead to increased competition in the aerospace sector, promoting innovation and reducing costs. 4. Focus on emergency preparedness. The incident has highlighted the importance of emergency preparedness in space missions. Future missions will likely place a stronger emphasis on contingency plans, ensuring that astronauts can return safely if unexpected situations arise. Agencies may invest more in developing rapid response protocols and enhancing spacecraft reliability. 5. Public engagement and education. As space exploration continues to capture public interest, agencies and companies will likely focus on enhancing public engagement initiatives. This may include more transparent communication about missions, increased educational outreach, and efforts to demystify space travel to foster a more informed public. Engaging the next generation will be crucial for sustaining interest and support for future missions. 6. International collaboration. The evolving landscape of space exploration suggests that international collaboration will become increasingly important. As nations recognize the shared benefits of space research, partnerships may be formed to address common challenges such as crewed missions, space debris, and planetary defense. The ISS itself serves as a model for successful international cooperation, and this trend may expand to include more countries and private entities. 7. Technological advancements. The complexities involved in space missions will drive continued technological advancements. Future spacecraft will likely incorporate improved safety features, more efficient propulsion systems, and enhanced life support technologies. Research into sustainable practices such as utilizing in situ resources on other celestial bodies will become more prevalent as humanity aims for deeper space exploration. 8. Regulatory developments. The increasing involvement of private companies in space activities may prompt governments to reassess regulatory frameworks. Expect discussions around liability, safety standards, and space traffic management to gain momentum. Establishing clear regulations will be critical to ensuring the safety of both crewed and uncrewed missions. 9. Shift in public perception. As space travel becomes more routine, public perception of astronauts and space exploration may evolve. The portrayal of astronauts as virtually abandoned during extended missions may shift to a recognition of their professionalism and contributions to science. This change could lead to a more favorable view of long-duration missions and the necessity for flexible mission planning. 10. Sustained interest in human spaceflight. Finally, the incident underscores a continued fascination with human spaceflight. As more people become aware of the complexities and challenges faced by astronauts, there will likely be a sustained interest in crewed missions to the Moon, Mars, and beyond. This interest will propel efforts to establish a human presence in space and inspire future generations of explorers. In conclusion, the interplay of politics, technology, and public engagement will shape the future of space exploration. The recent miscommunication surrounding the astronauts' return serves as a reminder of the importance of clear communication and collaboration in achieving shared goals in this new era of space exploration. As we move forward, these predictions highlight the potential for growth and innovation in the aerospace sector, reinforcing the need for careful planning and coordination among all stakeholders involved.